Hi there, Redland. This week for our devotional series, we're talking about godly principles that we learned from our dads. Yes, that's a picture of my dad and me in the background, and I almost got him with that hose. Interestingly enough, I have a picture just like that of both Olivia and Wesley and me. I want to share with you a little bit about my dad. He passed away suddenly a little over 4 years ago. I had the opportunity to share the eulogy for him at his funeral service at Redland, actually. And in that eulogy, I shared a few things that I learned from my dad. The first one was that my dad taught me the value of hard work. And I really appreciate this. I could see his diligence in a lot of things. It could be in his work, it could be related to household projects. Anything that he really put himself to, he decided he was going to do it all the way the right way. Now, when it came to household projects, sometimes that meant things went just a little bit longer than one might expect, but the end result was usually really good. I remember that he had a front porch railing that had flaking paint and was deteriorating. Over time, some of the wood goes bad, is rotted. And he spent a long time, months and months, slowly working on that finished product. And he was so proud of that. Now, interestingly enough, for me, my front porch is in a really similar situation, and I kind of wish he was around to help me get things just right for that. But that's okay. I'll probably include my kids on that, and we'll have fun. But I'm reminded of Ecclesiastes 9:10 that says, "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might." And that's something that my dad did, and I got to work on projects with him like that, and I got to see him diligently working hard all the time. And my goal is to carry that on. My dad also taught me how to play baseball. And I know it's just a sport, but if you're an upward coach or if you've been on a sports team, you know that sports is a great place to learn about real life issues. And that was one of the things that happened for me. Not only was my dad a great cheerleader, he's the one who taught me how not to throw like a girl. I don't think you can say that anymore, but you might get the gist of what I'm talking about. I didn't have a really good arm, but my dad taught me how to throw right. And eventually, I became a pitcher. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was a pretty okay pitcher. And being out on the mound as the guy out there was sometimes pretty daunting. And the fact that I had my dad as a cheerleader, but also was faced with this pressure cooker situation sometimes, really helped me navigate life and learn how to handle the hard times and keep working through. It reminds me in 1 Corinthians 15:58, we are told to be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For you know your labor is not in vain in the Lord. It doesn't matter what the countenance is, it doesn't matter how many men are on base. All that matters is that you are working hard for the Lord. The third thing that my dad taught me is how to invest in my kids. And as you know, I take that pretty seriously. I want to work hard for my children. I want to invest in their lives. But part of that I got from my dad. And I saw that a lot growing up, but even more so, probably I had the appreciation to realize it as I saw my dad as a grandparent. And he took joy in his grandkids, whether it was mine or my sisters or some of my step siblings along the way. He really relished time with the grandkids. I'm reminded of what Jesus says in Matthew 19:14. He says, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them." Why? For the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. By the way, that's a great plug for children's ministry. You can help further the kingdom of heaven by getting involved in children's ministry, youth ministry, to really serve them and so delight God's heart. And then finally, my dad taught me to follow Christ faithfully. Now, my dad had ups and downs in his life, as your father did as well. My dad wasn't perfect, he had his flaws, and yet I saw in him a man who really desired to follow Christ. As a younger man, he had an energetic zeal such that he organized a visitation for the church where he was so that that church could impact the community. He used his musical talents on the trumpet to benefit the church. He was active and working, and I got to see that. And that's part of why I went into ministry. But more so, just to simply follow Christ and make him first was something that I saw my dad do. And involved in that is the idea of making sure we are following him every day, doing the right thing every day, even when it seems to get a little bit old. Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." And so I'll tell you one little thing about my dad. He had kind of a distinct period of his life where he was excessively down, and I mean down spiritually. And yet he took the time to really climb back, to restore the relationship that he had with the Father, and to have a vibrant spiritual life. And by the time he passed away, he had been going strong spiritually for a long time. And I'm thankful for that example. And it reminds me, don't grow weary. And if anything happens, it's not the end. You can keep pursuing God. So I'm thankful for my dad's example, and maybe some of that will help you as well. But it is a privilege to serve with you, and ultimately we get to serve our Heavenly Father who loves us so much that we get to be called the children of God. So Redland, I love you, and I'm thankful for you.